Welcome to Anti-Woke and Autistic. Let's check this out here from Instagram. You have been brainwashed into believing fat bodies are bad, unhealthy, or unattractive. First of all, there's no brainwashing to believe anything when it comes to the facts. The facts are fat bodies are unhealthy. Now, don't defend your opposite viewpoint by pointing out that many thin people are sick or that many sick people are thin. That is completely irrelevant, just completely irrelevant. The presence of excess body fat, the presence of a lot of excess body fat always means unhealthy, especially as you get older. You have all these morbidly obese influencers claiming that they're healthy and their blood work's normal. Let's just see how they start feeling when they're over 30, when they're over 35, especially when they're over 40. How well can they get in and out of cars? Oh, don't get me started. And blood work, you could have all sorts of things going on in your body that are negative, that are undesirable, such as a growth of plaque buildup in the coronary arteries, and still have normal blood work. Blood work isn't the be-all, end-all when it comes to measuring health. Well, that's a whole nother video. So I'm going to get back to the point here. You have been brainwashed. So this is about brainwashing. You have been brainwashed into believing fat bodies are bad, unhealthy, or unattractive. So let's just focus on bad or unattractive. Bad can mean unattractive. Unattractive can mean bad. So let's just focus on unattractive, unsightly, ugly, not pretty looking, not good looking, not beautiful. She's dead wrong. We have not been conditioned or brainwashed or trained or taught by the media to think fat bodies are unattractive. It's actually a hardwiring of our brain. We are naturally hardwired to find obesity unappealing or unattractive. It's like we are also hardwired, for lack of a better term, to find straggly weeds unattractive. So if you had your own business office and you were told to decorate it any way you want, or maybe it's in your house, what would you decorate it with? You would decorate it with, you might put plants in there where you're going to pick pretty plants. You might hang pictures, put pottery, ornaments. You're going to pick pretty things. You're not going to plant ugly weeds or anything like that. You're going to put pretty things in there, attractive things, aesthetically pleasing things. Nobody taught you that weeds are ugly. Nobody taught you that a gray plain rock is unattractive to look at. You didn't learn any of that. It's just your natural hardwiring. It's just what your brain naturally gravitates toward. And it's the same with obesity. Our brains are hardwired to find non-obese or straight size, non-overweight bodies as visually appealing, but we're also hardwired to find skeletal or emaciated or very, very skinny bodies as unattractive. Like, who in their right mind thinks that Eugenia Cooney, as you can see here, is attractive? The only people who would find Eugenia Cooney or people with similar bodies as attractive are people who have anorexia nervosa. Now, there might be somebody out there who's attracted to Eugenia Cooney as an entire package. They find her attractive as an entire package, her face, her voice, what seems to be her personality on YouTube and Instagram. But I'm talking about a literal attraction to emaciated bodies. If somebody is attracted to that, 100% sure they have a mental health issue going on. Obese bodies, for the vast majority of people, are unattractive. They're not sightly. They're not aesthetically pleasing. We did not learn that. In fact, it's the reverse. The reason we're hardwired to find fitter looking, slimmer bodies, slim bodies, straight size, not fat bodies, more visually appealing is the reason why those types of bodies are heavily represented in the media and have been represented in the media for decades and decades. So it's the reverse. So we're not taught by the media to hate fat bodies or find them unattractive. It's the other way around. Because we're hardwired to find fat bodies unattractive, we find fat bodies very rarely represented in the media, historically speaking. Now, these days we find many more fat bodies in the media due to the fat positivity, body positivity movement. But historically, as far as any kinds of TV commercials, TV shows, sitcoms, but particularly movies and drama shows, very few leading female characters were notably overweight. Again, it's because we're hardwired not to find that visually, aesthetically pleasing. Just like nobody teaches us that a weed is ugly. Nobody teaches us that brown, stiff grass is ugly. We like green, bright green, deep green, soft looking grass. Who in their right mind prefers brown, dead looking grass or a tree that's straggly and dry looking and hardly has any leaves on it versus a tree that's got a lot of strong, healthy looking branches and just clumps and clusters of deep green or whatever the natural color of the leaves are? It's just what our brains are wired for. All right, so her next message is our society has been brainwashed into thinking thin is good, thin is healthy, fat is ugly, fat is lazy, fat is unhealthy, fat is bad. Millions upon millions of messages reinforcing this message has been relentlessly and violently forced into our brains our whole lives. Violently? All right, let's break this down. There was a time where it seemed like every other commercial on TV was about the perfect shave for a man. A clean, smooth shave. All these shaving commercials all the time. And there would be attractive women rubbing a man's face after that perfect shave. All these shaving ads, you'd think that that would be teaching people, that would be teaching women that if a man has stubble, it's unattractive. Because since day one, she's watching all these commercials about the perfect shave. So by the time she's 18, she's seen at least 2,000 commercials for Bic or Norelco or all these other shavers and all these ladies swooning over these men with this perfect shave. Yet, guess what? When I was in college, I realized just how irresistible stubble is. Oh my goodness. It drives me crazy. A good type of stubble, not just any stubble, but the good kind. If a guy has 2 or 3 or 4 days, and I don't mean a beard, I mean stubble. If he has a 2 or 3 or 4 day growth of stubble, I just melt. Yet we live in a society where we're taught that a man should be clean shaven, like when he goes on a job interview, when he conducts important business. Do you ever see any unshaven men conducting any kind of business relating to politics? Do you ever see any candidates campaigning who are unshaven? Now, in the movies, like I think it started in the 80s or in TV shows, men started being unshaven, like Harrison Ford in Raiders of the Lost Ark. And it became a sexy look for men on the silver screen. But as far as business, anything related to business, anything pertaining to business, men learn you gotta be clean shaven, and women learn that too. Yet, let me tell you something. If I was doing business with a man who had 2 or 3 days of stubble, let me tell you, it would not work against him. It would not work against him at all. My eyes would be on that stubble. It might even work in his favor doing business with him. Why am I not brainwashed into thinking that a man should be clean shaven? After all, it's been reinforced. This message that a man should be clean shaven has been pumped into us the moment we began watching TV. No, it's just my natural brain, my brain's natural hardwiring. Nobody ever taught me that stubble is attractive. It's just something that came up within me. Same thing with my aversion to fat bodies. I didn't learn that from anywhere. My goodness, I'm a human being who can think for myself. I don't need society or beauty standards to tell me that fat is unattractive. It's always been unattractive. I've been drawing the human figure since I was 5 or 6, and I drew people all throughout childhood, and I never drew fat people except only on very, very rare occasions when I was drawing a bunch of people in a scene where there was a bunch of people, and for variety, I drew maybe 1 or 2 men with a beer belly, but other than that, all the women were slender, straight size. They had nice, trim, small waists. Nobody during my childhood, no teacher, no family member, nobody anywhere ever told me or communicated to me in any way that fat was unattractive. They didn't have to. I naturally saw it as unattractive, just like I naturally see weeds as unattractive, or trees that are barren and sickly with spindly branches and hardly any leaves as unattractive. I don't need to be taught that I don't like those things. I mean, give us credit. My God, we're humans. We're not lower forms of life who don't have a cerebral cortex, who can't think for ourselves. We can make decisions without being influenced, or we could have a dislike or a like for something without being influenced by the media. Women learn, little girls learn that sundresses are pretty. There's nothing negative perpetuated about sundresses, yet I've always hated sundresses. I would never be caught dead in a sundress. Why? Nobody taught me. I didn't learn this anywhere. There's nothing in the media about sundresses being unattractive. I've just always thought they were unattractive. I will never wear a sundress, and I think no matter what kind of body woman has, sundresses don't look particularly great on her because I don't like sundresses. Again, it's an example of something that I just don't like because my brain naturally doesn't gravitate towards that. And that's the same with fat people. And here we have these body positive and fat positive, fat liberationist, fat activists preaching that we are taught to dislike obesity. No, that is completely wrong. We have not been brainwashed to find obesity unsightly any more than we have been brainwashed to find ultra thinness or emaciation or the anorexic looking body as unattractive and sickly looking. No, if you think we've been brainwashed to find obesity, especially morbid obesity, unattractive, then ask yourself this. Did you ever learn to see anorexically thin bodies as unattractive? No. You know you never learned that, yet you see them as unattractive. Why? Who taught you that? Where did you learn that? Who brainwashed you into thinking that Eugenia Cooney's body isn't just unattractive, it's frightful looking? She looks like death. Where did you learn that? You know that's what you think of her body, that is. This has nothing to do with her personality, just talking about her body. You know you feel that way about her body, yet you never learned it from the media. Now, I would like this Instagram user to explain herself as to why she feels our aversion to obesity is learned or the result of being brainwashed, yet our aversion to an anorexically thin body is something that has not been taught. I would love to hear her or people who think like her or agree with her to respond to that. We are hardwired to find obesity as unattractive. And why? Because the way man evolved to survive in the harsh elements required a non-overweight body. Now, that doesn't mean he couldn't be or she couldn't be a little bit overweight, but if you look at modern day hunter-gatherers, like I think it's pronounced Maasai. Now, if you look at modern day hunter-gatherers, such as the Maasai tribe of people here, see any fat people in there? And no, I didn't cherry pick. I looked through Google Images. I put in Maasai tribe in the search field, couldn't find any overweight, chubby, husky, or thick looking men. because they are hunter-gatherers, and a fat body simply would not hack it in a hunter-gatherer lifestyle. The reason human beings get so fat, and it correlates to how modern their culture is as far as technological advances, yeah, it correlates. You simply can't be fat and conduct this kind of lifestyle. Now, before you think, well, they're all thin or slim because they hardly have any food. That's not true. They're master hunters. They know how to find food. They forage, they hunt for it. They're healthy, robust people. They can jump and run. They're healthy. Now, they don't have the best medical care, but as far as their fitness level, no, they're getting enough food. It's just that they're very active and their lifestyle requires being slender and lean, and they're also muscular too, not bulky muscular, but I don't see any skinny fat people among the Maasai here. The Maasai people do a dance in which somebody jumps. These are not unhealthy, weak, skinny people. This guy looks like he's levitating, but he's actually jumping. So it's part of their dance. And I also looked at pictures of Maasai women, and yeah, women are more likely to be a little thick, but you'll still be hard pressed to find Maasai women who are thick, and I did not see any fat women in this tribe. So the bottom line is, and the reason I'm showing you this is because this is an example of how we're hardwired to find obesity very unattractive and unsightly. There are exceptions. There are men who have fetishes. They're attracted to very obese bodies. But I don't believe for a second that any women who are straight size or slender or just a little bit overweight would love to be fat. There might be, well, anything's possible. There might be a very rare case of a woman who would love to be fat. You got to wonder what's going on with the mental health. There are actually women and men who want to be disabled. They have what's called trans disability or something like that. And there's a well-known case of a woman who deliberately blinded herself. I think she put some kind of, I don't know, I think it was bleach in her eyes because she wanted to be blind, and she's so happy she did it. And the only regret she has is that she didn't do it sooner in life. So yeah, there are people who are mentally sick who want to be that, like some people want a leg removed. They want to be paralyzed. I mean, there's something wrong with them mentally. So if there is a woman who's straight size, not overweight, slender, healthy, and she wants to be fat, yeah, something's not right. So in conclusion, we are not brainwashed to find obesity unattractive. Obesity goes against survival, the survival that we evolved from. In today's modern society, the fattest person in the world could survive in that they could get things done without moving much. Food can be delivered, they can hire people to take care of them. Everything's done practically with the touch of a button. But you put those people in a hunter-gatherer society or in a more primitive society that we evolved from, they would not last. I don't think they'd last 48 hours. The walking itself would kill them. So anyways, that's it for today. Have a wonderful day.